it is good to be back. What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for coming back to another video. And in today's video, we are finally talking about the first episode of the final season, Season 7 of the Clone Wars, The Bad Batch. I remember being at Star Wars Celebration this past year in April in Chicago. I was in the panel for the Clone Wars, and they actually showed us a clip and talked a lot about this first episode. So it feels awesome to finally be sitting here in front of my TV and watching it on Disney+. It is finally out, the first episode, The Bad Batch. And yeah, let's talk about it. Before we get too far into this video, I did do a video recently just talking about how all of these videos that I'll be doing for shows when I do episode by episode reviews will have spoilers in them. I'm not necessarily going to do a spoiler breakdown or anything like that. You can probably find channels like Star Wars Theory or Star Wars Explained that'll break it down a lot better than I will. However, I am going to be talking about my thoughts on the episode, and there will be spoilers in the mix, so just a warning to you guys. So this first episode of the Clone Wars, what I love about it right out of the gate is that they decided not to just go flashy and throw a bunch of Jedi in there. I love being able to return to Clone Wars and have it really be about the boots on the ground moments and stories about these clones that are in the midst of this war. And I love that they just chose to keep the first episode very true to what the Clone Wars is really about. I know we're going to get some flashy Star Wars lightsaber stuff later on, but it was really nice to just have a very grounded, just gritty, boots on the ground episode. Before I even get into my thoughts on what happened in this episode, just the animation, to be able to see what made the Clone Wars, the animation style of the Clone Wars, adapted into this new era with newer, fresher animation that looks very true to what the original show was. It does contain that same look, feel, and vibe, but it just has a nice, crisper, just cleaner look to it, and I just really enjoy that. So I just love just visually being able to see this show done today. It's just beautiful. If you have no idea about the Clone Wars and its past, it was canceled when Disney bought Star Wars, and of course it used to air on Cartoon Network, and yeah, it ended with a place of finality. You could have just been okay with it ending there, but it left a lot to be desired, and there was definitely a lot of things that definitely didn't close the loop between episodes 2 and 3 that we needed. So here we are with the Clone Wars Season 7, the final season. I am just so grateful to be a Star Wars fan and have this out, and just be able to watch this show again and be able to see a final season. I think it's a beautiful time to be a Star Wars fan, and anybody who denies that, you're just... I struggle to find you as a real Star Wars fan. I'm sorry. Even if you don't like all of it, even if you hate some of it, there's just so much coming out in the books, the comics, the TVs, the movies, the future stuff we're working on, the video games we got this last year. I mean, what a beautiful time to be a Star Wars fan. Anyway, let's talk about this episode. And so in this episode, essentially the clones have figured out that something is off on the other side. The droids and the separatists have kind of learned their tactics. They're kind of responding to the different things that they do in different ways. They may do something the first time and it works really well, but the next time the droids and the separatists kind of have a vibe of how to go about that. They know how to combat them. They know how to essentially stop them from doing the same tactics. Not too long into the episode, Captain Rex realizes that there's something fishy here. He feels like there's no way that these people would know, or the droids, I mean, would know their tactics unless somebody from the inside, on the clone side, was on their side. And he starts to think to himself and realize that he wrote most of these tactics and created most of these tactics with Clone Troop Echo, who passed away a lot earlier in the show. And now he has a suspicion that Echo is still alive. And yeah, that's kind of the basis of the beginning of the episode. And not too long into the episode, we were introduced to Squad 99, or as they call themselves, the Bad Batch. And I really like these characters because we did see them at the Star Wars Celebration panel. They showed us a badass scene that you will see in this episode. Some really great action. And that's one thing I'll say about this episode that I really loved, was there was some great action in this episode. There was a lot of really cool things going on, and it just felt like some of the coolest boots on the ground, just hand-to-hand combat, just gunfire action that we've seen in this show. And the Bad Batch were really cool. I really enjoyed them. They reminded me of like a squad of characters you'd have in a video game. They're essentially a defective set of clone troops in this story, and they kind of look down on regular clone troopers. They even just call them regs, and they don't really like to work with regs. They're just a group of 4 guys that are kind of sent into extreme situations because they all have different heightened abilities, but they're not your typical clone troopers. Which was interesting because in a lot of ways, they were really badass, but they definitely didn't have the same structure that most of the other clone troopers have. You have Hunter, the leader, who is essentially very much inspired by Rambo. And yeah, he has his own tactics and the way he goes about things. He has his own abilities, and I really enjoyed his character. I thought he was really cool. Again, he was very much like a Rambo kind of character, even has the bandana. Then you have Wrecker, who's just the brute of the group. Then you have the one they call Tech, who I'm sure you can understand is the intelligent one who can hack things, and he was just essentially the smart one. He felt very much like a Donatello from the Ninja Turtles, just that kind of character, the one character that's really smart and does all the tech stuff. And then you have Crosshairs, who is essentially the sharpshooter of the group. And again, like just having those four, the brute, the sharpshooter, the tech guy, and then like the main hunter guy, the leader, it felt very much like a video game set of characters, and I really enjoyed them. I thought they were really cool. I enjoyed the action that came on around them. And yeah, essentially their goal with Captain Rex is to go in and try to infiltrate this droid base where they'll be able to find out information on how they know about their tactics. And by the end of the episode, Captain Rex and the squad end up discovering that Echo may very well be alive and that he is working with the Separatists and giving them his tactics. So I'm very excited to see where this season goes. I love it. I love, again, that they kept the first episode very grounded, you know, boots on the ground, a lot of really cool action with gunplay and hand-to-hand combat. They could have easily gone really flashy and thrown lightsabers into the first episode, but they didn't, and we know we're going to get that later into the season. But yeah, I really, really loved this episode. I really loved what they did with it. It was just a really great return to the Clone Wars, you know, not really story-heavy, but definitely set up for what the season will be. I really enjoyed the action. I enjoyed the characters, and it was really nice to be back hearing D. Bradley Baker play all these clones. If you have no idea who that is, he's the voice actor behind the clones, and he plays all of them across the entirety of the Clone Wars, as well as a shit ton of other characters, and I just love him as a voice actor. He's so incredibly talented, and yeah, I am so hyped on the Clone Wars. We are finally back with the Clone Wars. You guys can look forward to a review each and every week for this show. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode too. Leave your comments down below. What did you think of the episode? Definitely hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. And if you're not yet subscribed to this channel, guys, hit that subscribe button. A lot of you who are watching are not subscribed, and you're leaving positive comments and you're hitting that like button. So if you do enjoy these videos, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I will see each and every single one of you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.